Hi everyone, this is Professor Satish Oli from Civil Engineering Department. So today we are going to see regarding WST subject. In that we are going to see a distribution system. So this topic is a part of fifth model as per the VTU syllabus. So what is a distribution system? So distribution system is nothing but here it's a set of pipes, pipe fitting, instruments, measuring device, pressure measuring gauges, leakage detectors and all. Okay, they make a set of system, and we have got a tap also over there, so which will help you to convey the water from a treatment unit to the end point. That is, the end point is in customer itself. And the total cost of a distribution system lies nearly around, you can see here, around 40 to 70% of the total water supply scheme over here. Okay, so that you can see over here. Again, water. So if the efficiency mainly depends upon how you plan it, how you execute it, how you maintain it. Okay, so planning phase is very much important part. So how you are going to supply the water, in which method, what type of method you are going to adopt, that also plays a very much important role when I want to say that the system is more efficient one. Okay, so ultimate aim of the distribution system is to convey a pure water at a low cost. Okay, so what we are doing, we are conveying a pure water from an treatment unit to the end user itself. Okay, it should be pure itself. There should not be any pollution present in that. Okay, any contamination should be there, or any contamination taken during a distribution itself. Okay, so that should be avoided, and that should not happen in your distribution system itself. Okay, so this is all about the distribution system. Next one, the requirement. Okay, so there are certain requirements of distribution system. The first requirement is nothing but it should send the water as pure as possible from a treatment unit to the end, to that consumer part. Okay, it should be economical and easy to maintain and operate itself. That's the second one. That's a major important part itself. It should be capable of supplying water during the firefighting needs also. If there is a fire breakout in any part of the city, the distribution system should be able to supply the sufficient amount of water for that firefighting purpose also. Okay, and there should not be a further contamination taking place, or the further pollution is being taking place in your distribution system. Okay, it should be in such a way that, and always the distribution system should not be laid below, or can say below a sewer line. It should be always in above or certain distance apart itself. Okay. Next one. Okay. And during and repair work also, your supply should not be interrupted or stopped. Your design of distribution system should be in such a way that. The another one major important part here is key when there is a peak demand. Okay, say during an hour from morning 8 to 10. So during that hour also, your distribution system should be designed in such a way that it should supply a sufficient quantity of water. So you should consider a peak factor. So peak factor is nearly about 2.5, and the population is around 0.25 to 2 lakh. Okay, so adequately what we take is peak factor, we take it as around 2. Okay. And again, one major important point, it should be very simple to erect, to lay itself, easy to repair, and maintenance cost, we can say operational and maintenance cost should be as low as possible. Another one major important part is there should not be a failure of pipe bursting. Your design should be in such a way that, or your planning should be in such a way that there should not be any pipe bursting. Okay, so due to high pressure, what happens sometimes, there is a pipe burst, accumulation of high pressure, so that should not be there in your distribution system. It should be fairly watertight and there should be a reduced amount of leakage as possible. Okay, so these are the some of the requirements of a distribution system. Next, what we are going to see here is, next you can say a system of distribution, or you can say method of distribution. So there are three types. One is in what you can say is gravity system, another one is in pumping system, next one is in dual system, or you can say combined system. So combined system, what we can say here is in gravity plus a pumping system. Okay, so we will see this one. The first one we will see a gravity system. In gravity system, what will happen there is, you can see the water means the source will be on a higher end. It may be a lake or a river itself. The static head will be more, so than you can say a frictional and an effective head. Okay, the static head will be more, and this head can be achieved only when your city is on a lower end, you can say in low lying area itself, and your source will be on a higher terrain itself, or you can say high level itself. Okay, so when that is been achieved, okay, you will have a gravity system over here, so where water will be flowing under the action of gravity, and you will have a sufficient amount of pressure over here. The static head will be insufficient, so that it can be distributed all over that city itself. Next one is in pumping system. So pumping system we will use when the source level is at the lower end and your city is on the higher level itself. Okay, you can say elevation levels. So, or in case where you want to have an adequate amount of pressure, the pressure, even though in the gravity flow you can't meet a sufficient amount of pressure or pressure head, what we do is we go for a pumping system. Okay, and especially during a firefighting time or an emergency time or during a fire breakout, we use this pumping system itself. Okay, so normally in pumping system, what happens, the pump tend to maintain a static head. Okay, it gives a sufficient height and pressure that can be supplied to the consumer itself. There is a major drawback of this system here is, if there is a pump failure, or if it's in if it's in what you can say power failure, okay, the system will fail over here. It's a major we can say a drawback itself. So sometimes what we do is we add more number of pumping units. Say instead of one, we add second one as a backup. Then also if there is a fire, we can say if it's in failure in the power itself, the whole system tend to get collapsed over it. Next one is in combined system, or you can say it is in pumping plus a gravity system. This is the most effective system. It's the most efficient system. So what we do is we pump the water during the time of what you can say a peak period. We store the water if it is needed in terms of an emergency or during a fire demand, or in terms of a peak demand itself. Okay, so that elevated reservoir will make up it. So in this way, what happens there is we have both in pumping system as well as an elevated reservoir where the water flow under the action of gravity. So this is called as in dual system also. It is more reliable and more economical system. Okay. So next here is nothing but in what way we supply the water to the consumer. You can say the title is like the water may be supplied to the consumer either by two systems. So in the previous case, what we have seen was we have seen the methods of supply. Okay, water to the consumer itself. So what methods we are adopting? You can say method of distribution system. This one, we got three methods over there itself. Here you are supplying. So in what way you are supplying the water to the consumer itself. The first one here is in continuous system. The second one here is an intermediate system. So continuous system is nothing but what we do is we tend to supply the water 24 hours throughout the year. Okay, so water supply will not be stopped over here. So water is available plentifully during the firefighting also, and always you have a fresh water because water is always been circulated. Okay, so if there is a lesser diameter pipe, one of the disadvantage here is if there is a lesser diameter pipe, there is a rusting and there is a head loss, and sometimes due to leakage the more amount of water will be also wasted over here. The next one is an intermediate system. So in the intermediate system, what happens there is we tend to supply the water with particular intervals. So that interval may be in terms of hour, that may be fixed in a day itself, or it may be in days of a week itself, or it may be a week of a month itself. Okay, so those days or those hours will be fixed over here. So that type of supply we call it as an intermediate supply. With particular interval of hour or a particular interval of a day, we are going to supply the water itself. There are certain disadvantages of this we can say intermediate system. So this intermediate system may be used when you don't have a plenty of amount of water available to the city. So we are going for that intermediate supply. So only when we don't have a plenty of we don't have plenty of water available, we are going for that intermediate system. And here it is being divided into some zones. Okay, so per each zones you are tend to supply the water for a particular interval itself. So we'll see the disadvantage of this system. So disadvantage of this system is there is a faster rusting of pipes and all, or pipe operators which are used in this system. Because of say alternate supply of water, wetting and drying, the wear and tear will be more. It increases the maintenance cost. Okay, and if there is a breakage in the pipe, sometimes it will be not be noticed. Okay, so the pollution may enter the water due to leaks and all, because water is flowing non-periodically. Sometimes it will be left unnoticed, so there is a much chance of pollution getting into that system, and there is more chance of wastage in this system, because what happens there is, so people have a tendency to open the tap to check the water is coming or not. During the first crucial minutes, there will be more water will be wasted, because in that period, okay, the water will be left unattended. Okay, so there is a much chance of leakage in this type of system. So these are the two supply system, okay, where the water is being supplied to the consumer itself. So one is in continuous, one is in intermediate. So next what we are going to see is there are different types of layouts of a distribution system. So don't get confused. The previously what we have seen here is method of distribution system. In that we have got a gravity, pumping and a combined system. Here this is a layout. Okay, so this is a layout. So layout we have got four types. In that we have got a tree end or a tree system itself, a grid iron system itself, a circular ring system itself, a radial system itself. Okay, so there are four types of system. So tree system is nothing but you can see in this figure. So in this, what happens there is this system is very much suited for irregular development of the towns or cities. Like we can take the Indian cities itself. We have got an irregular development. We don't have a planned city. So here this system is been quite adopted over here, and this system is being used over here. So what we do? From the main branch we remove a sub branch. From the sub branch we remove the branches. Okay, so like a same as the tree itself. Okay, so tree has got a main trunk. From the trunk we have gotten branches. From the branches we have gotten some branches and all. So here also we do the same thing. Okay, so this is all about the tree system. You can see in this figure itself. So it has got some advantage and disadvantage. So advantages is that So as we can see over here, key we have an advantage and disadvantage also. So now what the advantages are that we are going to look after. So the advantage here is that it can be in this type of a distribution system, the calculation is very much easier. There is no tedious calculation like pressure and all. Okay, you can easily calculate a pressure at a point and a discharge at a point. Okay, less number of valves and pipes are required. So the dimensions of the pipes are kept small, means will be small over here in this type of distribution system, so that and an economical diameter can be attained very easily over here. Okay, so laying is very much simpler and it is very much easier. But the disadvantage here is key that due to a stagnant water at the end, so what happens here is exactly I can show you. So this end points here. Okay, so due to that, I meant to say is this part. Okay, so stagnation into that end points, what happens there is there is a possibility of contamination. Okay, and if there is a repair work taking place, you need to stop the entire system itself, and there is less quantity of water available for firefighting itself. Next, we can see an iron grid system. So in this iron grid system is nothing but what happens, there is a main line, main pipeline is being laid, and to that what we do, we tend to remove the branches. Okay, so here the water circulation is taking place and the flow is in two direction. Okay, and it has also got some advantage and disadvantage. So advantage is that during a repair, if I want to repair this portion, so this portion will be stopped, rest of all portion will not be stopped. But in a tree system, you need to shut down the whole system itself. Okay, you can receive continuous flow of water and you can have an high pressure also. Water is being supplied in two direction over here. Okay, and during in firefighting time, so you got in plenty amount of water and pressure is available. Okay, so due to the water is being circulated and there is no end over here, the continuous being circulation is there in this distribution system. There is no possibility of stagnant water and contamination of water. I mean stagnant contamination due to stagnant of water. Okay, but the disadvantage here is you require large means you can say more number of pipes, more number of valves over here. Calculation is very much tedious and laborious. Okay, and it is little complicated and very much difficult to calculate pressure and discharge in the system. Okay, so this was about iron grid system. So next one is circular or a ring system. So circular and ring system is nothing but it's like a ring in your finger itself. So why we call it as, because the main pipes is being laid on the border of that city itself. So these are the bigger pipes. Okay, so from that the branches are being drawn out. So only we call it as an a ring system over here. Okay, so advantage and disadvantage here are same as iron grid system. The major difference is nothing but here the main pipes are being laid on the boundaries of the cities itself. So next one, in radial system. So radial system is nothing but it's in zonal system itself. So what we do is we put in reservoirs. Okay, and exactly what happens here is the main line is being connected to in reservoirs. From reservoirs in a radial point, in all direction, what we do is we remove the sub mains and all. You can say distributaries we tend to remove, or you can say sub mains we are being removing from those reservoir itself. Okay, and there are number of bends are been less. So what we do here is we tend to eliminate losses due to bend. It is the most economical how can say distribution system, and this type of distribution system we call it as an combined pumping and gravity flow also. Okay, so normally this type of a distribution system nowadays are being adopted. You can see in cities like there are reservoirs, in elevated reservoirs, and from there the water supply lines are being connected. Okay, so what happens, there is a pumping period. So during a pumping period they store the water over here, and from those elevated reservoirs they supply the water, or you can say distributed the water to the cities itself. Okay, so this was about an radial system. Okay, and it's a most economical, I mean economical distribution system itself. Okay, and you can have a sufficient amount of pressure head available in this type of an system, because there are elevated reservoir, they store the water to a certain static head. Okay, so from that you can easily obtain a required amount of pressure. Okay, so next one we will see regarding in distribution reservoirs. So before we go for distribution reservoirs, you can see that there are four types of distribution layouts. Okay, so those are nothing but dead end system, grid, ring and a circular system, and radial system. Okay, so now we have seen all these four. So next we will go for distribution reservoir. So what are these distribution reservoirs? So distribution reservoirs are nothing but, these are nothing but what you can say as, say it as in storage reservoirs. Okay, or in another words, easy words, you can say storage tanks. Okay, so these are also called as service reservoirs also. So what is their main objective? So main objective here is key to store the treated water and to supply it whenever there is a need, or there is a to satisfy in peak demand, or to supply the water in terms of emergency, or there is a fluctuation in demand. Okay, so during all those times what we do is we draw the water from these reservoirs. Okay, so distribution reservoirs are also called as service reservoirs. Okay, so now we will see the main functions of these reservoirs. So main function of these reservoirs is nothing but what, the first one what it says that, okay, so during an hourly variation, okay, hourly variation, we have seen a variation in demand in the previous chapters. So during that what happens there is, uh, we allow the water to be pumped. Okay, and the pumping will be at the constant rate, but the variation will be looked after by this distributory reservoirs itself. Okay, and the second function, so second function, what it happens here is it allow us to maintain a constant pressure in the distribution system. Whenever there is a fall or increase in the pressure, it will help us to normalize the pressure itself. Next one, see there is a pumping which has to be carried out in a shift wise or within a particular hour of a day. Okay, so rest of all whole demand of a day should be satisfied. So what happens, we do store the water during those pumping period itself, okay, into that distribution reservoirs, and the whole day demand will be looked after by those distribution reservoirs itself. And whenever there is an breakout of fire or during emergency or there is a heavy demand, okay, so this distributory reservoirs will look after those demand itself. Again what it will do is it will help us to reduce the size of the pipe. Okay, so size of a treatment unit, because we can store the water in these distribution reservoirs. Okay, and no need to put in huge treatment unit to pump or to treat more water to satisfy the demand. Okay, so whenever there is a less demand you can store the water, whenever there is a more demand you can take out the water from that distribution reservoir itself. So by that what will happen there is you will reduce the size of the pipes and you will reduce the size of the treatment unit itself. So next one, there are two types of distribution reservoir mainly. Okay, so these distribution reservoirs are built up with steel, RCC or machinery depending upon the elevation respective to the ground itself. Okay, so they are classified into two types. One is in surface reservoirs, one is an elevated reservoir. So what are the surface reservoirs and elevated reservoirs? We will see now. So surface reservoirs are nothing but which are built on the ground itself, on the ground level. Okay, so generally they are built on a point in a city at an higher level. There is an hillock region in the city itself, or it's an elevated ground area. So what we do, we build uh, these surface reservoirs in those places at an highest point in a city itself. And what we do, we can zone the city, we can divide the city with respect to the reservoirs itself. Okay, and these reservoirs can be used for combined type of distribution system. So where gravity plus pumping can be taken place. Okay, so generally these distribution reservoirs are divided into two compartments. Okay, so one is for cleaning and repair itself, and when there is a cleaning and repair taking place in one compartment, another can be used. So this compartment is been connected with the walls and sluice gates. Okay, so at the roof we have gotten ventilation and air vents so that there should be a free circulation of water itself. Okay, although it stores what you can say treated water, but what happens there is sometimes uh, during in pumping period also, when the pumping is taking from treatment plant to those distribution reservoirs, due to some reasons, if there is a leakage or contamination is been taking place, or some accumulation of some mud is there, those sludge will be formed in that storage reservoirs. Sometimes algae will be growing in those tanks. Okay, so those can be removed and cleaned over here, okay, with help of some flush walls and all. Okay, and okay, so you can see the next one here is this is an diagram of an surface reservoirs. We got an air vents over here. Okay, so we have an washout over here. So these walls are can be used for cleaning. Okay, so this one we have got an inlet pipes over here. So one is for an outlet for an distribution to the main lines. So next we will see an elevated reservoirs. So elevated reservoirs are nothing but as the word suggests, that these are built with respect to certain height from the ground. Okay, so these can be in circular, elliptical, circular. So these can be circular, elliptical, or rectangular in shape. Okay, so these are built at a elevated height from the ground itself. Okay, we can say within considerable elevation. These can be also adopted in a combined system. So we have adopting reservoirs especially for the combined system itself. Okay, so where the gravity as well pumping system is taking place. So now these tanks are built with RCC steel, precast concrete. Okay, so those can be used, and generally what we do, we store and filter water within certain elevation. So why we build for in certain elevation? Because to have an required pressure head, okay, to be maintained in that distribution system. So for that reason what we do is we built these elevated reservoirs. Okay, so next there are certain accessories like we have in this surface reservoirs. So elevated reservoirs also have certain accessories. So these are nothing but inlet outlet pipes. Okay, overflow pipes. So you can see you can have an overflow pipe, you can have an inlet pipe over here. We have an washout pipes. So we have an washout pipe over here for cleaning purpose itself. Automatic device. So whenever the tank is being full, it can be stopped automatically, the pumping system itself. A ladder which can be used for maintenance purpose. A maintenance crew can be going go up, and manhole for inspection itself. So there are certain manhole for the inspection purpose itself, and a ventilation to have an fresh air. Okay,
Fresh air vents are used to circulate. Okay, and so the ventilators are used to circulate the fresh air, so that there should not be any foul smell in the water itself. Okay, so now as we have stated earlier, there are in distribution reservoir there are two types. One is in surface, one is in elevated. So we have seen a surface reservoir. This is in surface reservoir. This is an elevated reservoir. So now what we are going to see here is we are going to see the capacity, how to find out the capacity of distribution reservoir. So mainly distribution reservoirs are used for the following purposes. First one is for balancing storage, a breakdown storage, and then fire storage. So balancing storage is nothing but during the fluctuation time, variation in demand. Okay. So these reservoirs are being used to make up or to store up the water. So breakdown storage is nothing but during a time of repair or maintenance work. Okay. So what we do previously, when we store the water, we supply the water from those reservoirs. Okay, during a breakdown period itself, during a maintenance period. Okay. A fire storage reservoir is nothing but during it can be used during a firefighting purpose. These type of reservoir are exclusively stored for the firefighting purpose itself. They stock up the water for solely for this type or this purpose only. Okay, so now we will see the balancing storage reservoir. As I mentioned earlier, the main purpose of this reservoir is to meet fluctuating demand and to supply the constant rate, okay, of water to that distribution system from the treatment plant. Here again what they state here is the quantity of the water required to be stored, okay, is equalizing or balancing with the variation demand. Is nothing but what they want to say is to satisfy that variation in demand itself, okay, or more or less water, and means to store up that additional water or to draw the water from that. Okay, and it should be in such a way that it should be supplied at a constant rate. So therefore it is called as a balancing reservoir itself. Okay, so I can say balancing reserve itself, or what they say is it has a balancing storage, or they say it has a storage capacity of balancing reservoir. So now how we calculate this storage capacity is by using a mass curve method. So what happens in a mass curve method is that we plot a flow accumulation, okay, flow accumulation with inflow and outflow versus time. So uh, this figure will tell you about. So this is an supply, and this is versus time itself. So now uh, what they say here is this curve of supply, okay, first drawn and then it is been superimposed by the demand curve itself. Okay, so what they do, they superimpose this demand curve over here. Next, what happens here is, so the amount of water balancing can be easily determined by adding the number of maximum coordinates between the demand and supply. Okay, so now what we can do is we can add the coordinates over here. Okay, so when you add this one, you can easily find out what is the demand curve over here itself. Okay, now we will see how this curve is being constructed. So first what they do is they record the maximum, you can say they calculate the demand for 24-hour basis, typically for a day itself. So they will calculate what other demand itself. What they do next one is they calculate and plot the accumulated demand against the time, and this is done. So by that what they do is they plot a curve by using that demand itself. Okay, So now what they do is they draw in accumulated supply, so almost against the time itself. So against the time, what they do is they plot that curve over here itself. So now what they do is they read the water requirement as a sum of two maximum ordinates. So what they do, they join a straight line, okay, for 0 to 24 hours. Now what they do is where there is a peak rise, okay, you can see with this one, they count the ordinates and this will give us the maximum demand itself. Okay, A and B, both this one. So this can be rated by what? The water storage requirement as the sum of two maximum ordinates between the demand and the supply line. Okay, so by this way what they do, they repeat this process for typical days, okay, and they calculate the storage itself. Okay, so this was the distribution system. In the next part, what we are going to see is we're going to see regarding the problems. So thank you very much.